All right, episode 564 with Melissa Henig is going to be brought to you by the Extreme Health Academy. If you guys haven't checked out the Academy yet, I highly recommend you do so. Every month, we are running Extreme Health challenges, and only Academy members get to win the prizes. And last month, we gave away a Relax Far Infrared Sauna. We gave away a Squatty Potty and a bottle of Soul CBD oil. These challenges happen every single month. We also are going to be doing group cleanses. So pretty soon we're going to be doing the Ejuva cleanse as a group this spring, which is going to be really awesome. We do Sunday fasts as a group. We do in-depth protocols. We have quick win videos on how to protect yourself from blue light and do intermittent fasting. We have monthly mastermind Q&A calls with Dr. John Bergman himself. We do member hangouts where we answer your health questions. We do webinars. There's an amazing community. We have monthly courses on diseases as well as body systems. I'm telling you, the Extreme Health Academy is for you if you want to take your health to new levels, or if you're currently dealing with any kind of health challenge. Check out extremehealthacademy.com. Well, Kate, today is going to be a fun show. We're very excited about this show.
Personally, very appropriate.
I know.
That we're going to be talking about pregnancy and birth and babies and
I know, it's great.
Nursing, and this is good.
But I thought you're not supposed to eat raw anything when you're pregnant. You're not supposed to eat.
They scare you. They
That'll
tell
kill
you
the
that.
baby, won't it?
We're going to find out. Apparently not Melissa's, because she's happy, got her little cuddle bug in her arms as we're going to interview her. So this is going to be interesting, huh?
Isn't that funny how they make such a big deal about that? I mean, I guess if you're eating low-quality raw food, raw meats and things, I guess anything raw, but if you're eating low-quality food and, something goes wrong, I guess, with the pregnancy thing, you have to really make sure that, you don't lawsuits, people get sued and stuff like that. But
everyone's afraid.
But like you said, it's fear, right?
It's all fear.
It's all fear.
But yeah, I'm excited to talk to Melissa because this is something that I don't think is, it's gaining popularity, but if you just talked about this with the average person, they probably freak out on you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Especially most doctors and midwives, even they don't understand the concept. So,
So we're going to talk to Melissa Henig really shortly. We're going to be introducing her and her whole journey of eating raw food, and not just raw vegan food or raw vegetarian food, but raw vegan and vegetarian plus raw animal food. And so this will be a really fascinating topic. And she just went through a pregnancy, so we'll talk about that. Yeah, is there anything else? Any other house cleaning to talk about? I think
it's cool. Before the show, we were saying that it's cool. The day she delivered her son, Jeremiah, is the day that we found out we were pregnant.
I know,
same day,
right?
I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
We have something in common already.
I know, that's so great. So she is a health and lifestyle coach. Her website is rawpaleo.com, and she's the author of the book called Raw Paleo, so that's really cool. And she helps to coach women and men to feel strong and motivated. And I have to say that I have not jumped into the world of raw meat yet. Although I feel a particular calling, and you know this, Kate.
Yeah, you've talked about this for years.
Yeah, I know that at some point it will be a part of my journey, and I am grossed out by it, but I think that there's recipes. We have the Agenus Vonderplanet's book here, so we could get in some recipes. Would you be willing to try? Or I
think after talking to Melissa, I might have my arm twisted a little bit more. I know it doesn't sound like a good thing to me right now, but
no.
I'm open to, if that's the better way to health.
We'll see if Melissa can convince you.
Right.
Hey, Melissa, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
This is fun. And welcome, baby.
Welcome, baby. That's right.
Baby Jeremiah.
Yeah, baby Jeremiah.
Ah, congrats.
Now, how old is he now?
He's 3 months right now.
Wow.
Little guy.
Just a little peanut.
Yeah, it's a perfect age because they start to interact and smile. Can't get away yet. They're not crawling.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
You got to enjoy that while you can, huh?
That's so great. So 3 months, and So you're primarily breastfeeding right now?
Yeah, I'm just breastfeeding. I think I'll introduce some egg yolk about 6 months. It's just the baby can lead when they're ready, and they kind of start like they're looking at the table, looking at the food, and they'll lead you when they're ready for some food, solids.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you do a lot of, I'm sure you did a ton of research, for your pregnancy. Did you read a ton of books, I'm sure, and, watch a bunch of videos and learn like that?
I guess I basically have believed that whatever my diet was currently, I wouldn't change much. So I didn't, I still was eating all the raw foods, and I didn't do a lot of the research because there's not a lot of out there on what I do, on what I eat.
You are the researcher.
With pregnancy.
Yeah.
What's that? What was the final thing you said?
As far as like eating raw meat with pregnancy, there's really no books I could go to on that. I just intuitively, this strong intuition when you become pregnant, you just like tap into your knowing. And I figured, I'm not going to change what I'm already doing and is making me so healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you can you explain to our listeners? We followed you and we know a little bit about you, but how did you get into this whole thing? And obviously leading up to pregnancy, you'd been doing it for quite some time.
Right. I had already been doing it for about 7 years, and I started the typical way everybody does with the raw vegan diet. Mm-hmm. It's kind of that doorway into a whole, new health world. Mm-hmm. So I did that for a year. That was 7 years ago. And then I got introduced to the raw meats and the raw dairy, and I've been doing the raw animal diet since. And then, of course, becoming pregnant, I did both. I did raw foods and cooked foods because I was following the Brewer diet. I don't know if you've heard of that.
What is it called? Sorry.
Brewer?
It's the Brewer diet, Dr. Brewer.
Oh.
And he's really big on getting adequate amounts of protein. So I would really be food journaling, and I would get 80 to 100 grams of protein a day to build a baby and a placenta and to increase the blood volume by 50%. Mm-hmm. So I had, and he really has this, you have to get 2,600 calories a day. And I was nowhere near that. I had no idea until I started journaling. I was at about 12 to 1,500 on my normal raw diet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I felt good, and I was still, everything was fine. But then when I did meet up with my midwife that I found, she's an unassisted birth midwife, and she told me, you really need to up the calories. So I just started bringing in some cooked foods to try to up those calories.
Oh my goodness.
Was that a hard transition for you? Did you feel different or gross or heavy, or did you?
It was hard. I was like force feeding. I was not hungry. I'd be like, I am just not hungry, but I know I need to eat this.
Oh.
So
yeah.
It was a lot of force feeding to really get the calories in. And he still was such a small baby. He was 6'8".
Oh, wow.
I was going to have a 9-10 pound baby. I gained 44 pounds. I ate so much protein and fat, and I still had a small baby. And I was about 2.5 weeks up past due.
Were you? Oh my gosh.
Wow. How interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So how much of your diet was cooked versus raw meat during your pregnancy?
Let's see. In the beginning, I was about 50-50. Okay. And then towards the end, I wasn't wanting the raw meat as much. We had moved to Arizona, so then I was doing it maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay. And of your entire diet, how much of that half that's half raw and half cooked, excluding animal products, how much of the rest of the food you ate was plants? Like what percentage was plant versus animal foods?
It's a small percentage of plants.
Really?
I do green juice every day.
Okay.
So I'm still big into the green juice, and of course that's raw. We're not supposed to have anything raw.
Oh, right.
But a lot of raw milk. That really gave me my protein, my calcium, my calories was that raw milk. I drank a lot of that being pregnant, maybe a quart a day.
Wow.
I would get up in the middle of the night and just eat a bunch of raw cheese. to get the food in.
How interesting. Now, did you do, what was I going to say with the Oh, I lost my train of thought.
Well, I'm just curious, like, before we get any further in that, you probably didn't consult a lot of, quote, more conventional doctors or midwives or people, but did you ever have yourself kind of freaked out a little, or did you just know intuitively, like you had said earlier, that this stuff wasn't going to hurt you? I mean, because even my midwifery place, they're like, you know, they're pretty natural, but they're also like, be careful of the raw cheese. And I think so many of us are just have that nagging little thing in the back of our mind, that little voice that says, well, what if, you know, I get something? Did you ever go through any of that?
Right. I hear what you're saying. I mean, here and there's always little things like, wait, should I be eating this? Oh, yeah, of course I should be. Like, I believe in this.
Totally.
I have no fear of food. And when it's a really clean source, there's no reason to fear it. You know, like we are bacteria. I feel like people are so, you know this, like where people are so afraid of bacteria and microorganisms and that's what we're made of. And so I don't have any fear of that on clean meat or clean vegetables or clean raw milk or anything that's clean. It's going to have a good source of bacteria.
Okay, right.
But I get what you're saying. My midwife was super cool. She was like, sure. I told her I eat raw meat. She's like, whatever you do, I trust you and you know your own body. She was really trusting that the woman knows what's going to be okay and what's not going to be okay. And she doesn't think you need any validation from the outside medical people or tests or, you know, things when everything we know is inside. So she was really backed me up on eating the raw meat, and it was pretty cool.
Wow. I wonder if she was like that because, like you said, she trusted you because, gosh, I hate to say it, but it seems like so many women just are so out of touch. I can't imagine a very high percentage of midwives even saying like, yeah, we trust you with your own self, because people don't trust themselves.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Right. Well, she only takes certain people too. You know, she's picky with her clients because you do have to trust yourself. She would ask me, well, what is your baby telling you? What do you think? Like, we didn't do any routine blood pressure exams. It was more like she would come over and we would get to know each other as emotional support and having someone there. But it wasn't a routine, regular routine checkup.
Wow,
yeah. Did you ever have any sort of ultrasound or anything going in through this whole thing?
I had one at 20 weeks, and I was so upset after I did it because I know how bad, you know, they heat up the baby and it can interfere with brain development, and it's like a freight train. It's so loud coming at the baby, those sound waves. And so I had all these reasons, and for some reason I still was like, you know, I had this little doubt sneaks up, and I said, I'll just do the one at 20 weeks. And I did it, and then afterwards I cried. I felt so bad, like I was invasive and in this little womb, and I'm like crying, and then they actually, I'm 39, so they came up, they had found something on the ultrasound. I'm like, this is exactly why I didn't want to do this, because there are so many false positives, and you know, and I thought, I don't want to know what they're going to say. The baby's not done cooking. He's not developed at 20 weeks, and they're going to go in and look at things, and it's not time. So they did come back at me, and they said, you know, you're 39 years old, and there's some soft markers that showed up for Down syndrome, and they want to do all this extensive testing and do more ultrasounds. And I refused everything from there on out. I was like, I'm really sorry that I even did that one.
Wow.
We're not going to be doing any more. I trust that everything is totally fine. He's not done cooking, and he's totally fine. There's not a tinge of anything. But you know that it's something, actually, those things show up and they freak women out.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, totally. I mean, there's so many, like you said, false markers with this stuff, with us going through all of it. It's amazing. And what it does, it's so crazy, is that, like, what are you going to do anyway? You know what I mean? Like, you do all this extensive testing. So what if, like, you did extensive testing and that testing actually brings into being the very thing that they think you have, but you don't? You know?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Abortion wouldn't be an option anyways.
Yeah.
I would still love the baby no matter what. So
yeah, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And then so much fear goes in, and then, you know, the moms are freaking out because, you know, there's some soft marker. I mean, it's like the same kind of thing where if you test humans, you know, every day we're producing cancer cells. But if if we were only 20 weeks old, you could see so much more. And so of course, you're going to find so many false positives with a baby because it's such a small cluster of cells. It's only been there for 20 weeks or so. And so you can find so much more in the pregnancy tests.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now I do have to say, though, and then I contradicted myself a little because at the very end, I actually ended up in an emergency C-section.
Oh.
And so, I was going to have the baby at home and I kept going 41 weeks, 42 weeks, and I was 42 and a half weeks and I stopped feeling movement. He was active the whole time. So I called the midwife. I have never called once. It was funny. I never had a problem. I never had a reason to call her.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then at the very end, I said, you know what? I'm not feeling any movement. And it's concerning because I've felt it this whole time. And so she literally was like, you've never called. And she like drove over really fast at 5:30 in the morning. And we heard a heartbeat, but she couldn't get any movement to do an extensive test where, every time the baby would move, the heart rate would rise and we would chart it down. And it was like every 5 minutes. And we were all ready to do this test, but we couldn't do it because there is no movement. So that's when we said, well, let's just casually stroll into the local hospital. And this time we wanted the ultrasound. We just wanted to look and see what was happening, get some movement on the ultrasound for peace of mind.
Yeah, no kidding.
But that's when, once we went in, we didn't leave. So it ended up and I didn't have any amniotic fluid left.
Oh. So
being so far past due, he was totally dry in there.
Oh.
Yeah, so there was zero amniotic fluid and they couldn't get any movement for 45 minutes. They had me eat ice chips and everything that, I would try to get the baby to move and they couldn't. Then it ended up in a bunch of fear at that moment. Like, we got to get him out right now. There's no fluid. There's no movement. His heart rate was dropping and I didn't know what to do. I said, no, let's go home. No, still, they're trying to put fear in us.
Yeah.
And then my partner, Chris, said, let me go call the midwife. And he came back and he's like, we have to do this. And she 500% says we have to. And she's all about unassisted natural birth. She's not even licensed because she's not a part of having the government, rule anything with her midwifery.
Nice.
Right.
And when he came back and said, we have to do it, I was like, oh gosh, we have to do this. So that's what happened at the end. My body didn't go into labor. And I, someone once said, does it have to do with your diet? But I don't think anything's related at all to my diet. Every labor's different and you never know. And for some reason, he just didn't kick in.
Wow. Was that so, I know you're in the throes of just all these emotions, but was that so disappointing to you?
Oh yeah.
At the time?
We were just we were kind of in a walking nightmare. It was unreal. Like it wasn't even happening when we were at the hospital.
Wow.
Like what is happening right now? This is exactly what we didn't want. All these fluorescent lights and doctors and they're wiping all the goods. Well, I don't think he had any vernix left on him after he was so overcooked.
Oh, poor dude.
Wow.
Yeah. So, there's at the end, I actually needed the ultrasound to see what was going on in there.
Right. I feel like that's true with our show. We're not anti people, claim that we're anti-doctor, and we're like, no, we agree with there are times when we are so grateful for emergency stuff. It's saved you and him probably from, if this was 150 years ago, who knows what would have happened.
Right.
Only God knows, but we're really grateful for those interventions,
Yeah, it opened my mind. I'm always like a little, I have judgments against Western medicine.
I know. We have to be careful too.
Maybe the little guy and you guys just sort of chose to go through this in order to learn that kind of a lesson and
of letting go or surrender or whatever.
It's his journey, and for some reason he came through that way. And he's strong and healthy, and I think because he was so strong and healthy, he was kicking up a storm the whole pregnancy. There was just some reason at the end there was that little glitch, but he pulled through great because I really believe because of my diet, and I did have all the extra blood volume from eating all that protein.
Right.
I really think it helped at the end there with him with us being at the hospital like that.
Yeah. Did it make your recovery? I mean, were you in pretty good shape afterward, like recovery wise, compared to most, do you think, because of your diet and how well you had prepared your body?
Yeah, exactly. The nurses, they had never seen someone recover so fast.
Oh, you're kidding. Serious?
Yeah, they were like, this is crazy. Like, there was nothing wrong. I had no bleeding. The scar healed up really fast. I was out of the bed, as soon as I could to go see the baby. And they're just like, are you sure? Most people need to lay here a little longer. I'm like, no.
Get me off this table.
Like, I feel like I'm always in constant training for life, with what we do with our naked sun time and working out and the raw foods and animal fats and everything is a constant. Like, when something like this tragedy happened and I had to have abdominal surgery, I was healed and bounced back really fast.
Oh man, wow. That is so good to hear. You don't hear that very often. I mean, I did hair for 16 years at a really toxic salon, but man, through those years, I saw so many pregnant women, and you just hear these stories about these C-sections, and I mean, it was worse.
Really?
Like, oh man, and they'd tell you how horrible the recovery. I mean, you just heard horror story after horror story.
Isn't that crazy?
How horrible the surgery was. It was like, oh, once they had the baby out, then it started. Then it was like, the hard stuff was ahead. Then all this, it's like major surgery. So
if that were me, I wouldn't want to perpetuate, because if you're telling a horror story about your own birth,
I know.
I would just not tell anyone. I would just say, yeah, it was great, because then you're putting that fear.
Tell
I guess
me
people
about
don't think of it like
they
that.
Don't. And then these people go on to have more, and they're usually more C-sections. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm surprised they do it again, to be honest. But yeah, why you tell those stories is just so. I remember thinking, deer in the headlights.
Yeah,
like,
why would I want to get
about
pregnant?
health this? I'm like, this sounds horrible, but.
I know, and I feel bad telling you the story.
No.
Being pregnant, I used to want to wear a pin that said only positive birth stories.
No, I actually really appreciate that, because I'm in a place where, it's so neat. I follow the Mama Natural too, and she has this birthing course, and we just joined the other day, and I can't wait to delve into that. But they also send you this cute free gift of these affirmation cards that are I was going through them last night. They came in the mail, and I'm just going through them going, yeah, these are just such positive, good things to shoot for. And in my heart, I believe them, but it's also really neat to just be open to what God has. I mean, you can't control any of it. And in the end, it's about surrender. And I actually like hearing your story, because I think it empowers people in a different way to also not be so married to their story that it's so earth shattering and life shattering that they can't move on from that. So it's neat to talk to somebody on the other side that, has gone through this, and you bounced back, and it's not the end of your world, And,
we always just go back to being so grateful that he's here with us. And
totally.
He stopped moving. He told me, I'm done in here, Mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done.
Because you were connected. I mean, you had this deep connection
with
your son. Wow, what a story. So it didn't go how you planned, but everyone's well.
Everyone's well, and I still 100% support home births, and I believe in our bodies that we're designed to deliver a baby. That's the most natural thing there is. I don't want it to be a medical process. I know this happened, but I still would want to. I would, if I ever. I don't know if I'll get pregnant again, but
yeah,
I would go for a home birth again.
Would you?
I still believe in it.
Oh yeah, I mean it aligns with everything that you're all about, and everything you have been about for so long. I mean, it's great, like you said, to go through this experience and to have the option in 2018 of the medical sort of establishment. But ideally, it, like you said, it's always good to do a home birth or to heal naturally, or these types of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have to say it's really, really refreshing for me to work with a midwifery. They're more on the natural side, and they don't believe in a lot of ultrasounds. They do require at their center that 20-week one, so that's something I've had to let go of too. But I find it so refreshing. They don't, because I'm 39 as well. We have a very similar life path, you and I, but they don't treat you like a number. They don't, they're like, oh, you're not, we don't call you a quote high maintenance, high risk, or your age. We don't focus on that stuff, and it's just so different. I was telling this story on the show last September before we got pregnant. I went in for my, regular annual OBGYN thing. And I hadn't gone in like 3 years. First of all, it was a nightmare. She called me a bad patient. They made, they had all this stuff they put onto me. And I thought, I'm never going back here again. And I plan not to. But there's a kind of thing where she was, you should have been pregnant yesterday. You should have been pregnant years ago. Like just total fear, like, what are you doing? You guys have been together forever. Like this is just, to her, it was like she did not understand. And I thought, wow, there's no conscious preparation in this office and in this, like, there's no spiritual connection. It was just so baffling to me. And then to go to the midwifery and them have, you're 39. Who cares? We don't put you in a category. It was just, that took away immediately so much of that stuff that weighs on you in the back of your head when people put that on you. It's just and I know a lot and I wasn't going to let her do that to me, but even that little tiny thing creeps in, that little fear puts you into a category, it's just really unfortunate for people.
Oh, I know. Well, it's so relative, the number.
Yeah.
Right. We take such good care of ourselves that biologically we're probably much younger than most 39-year-olds.
And that's what we say. Justin and I talk about that too. We're like, we don't feel, what is an age when you care about your body and you treat it right? It's just, it's silly. Our eggs might be healthier than, a 25-year-old. And,
right.
Who's to say? I have a I think she's in her 30s now, but she was 25 when she had her first child. And unfortunately, he did have Down syndrome. And it's not unfortunate accident, or actually, because he's the coolest kid ever and he's taught her so much. And he's just been a great addition to the family. But I remember thinking, how is she 25? And she had, it's like at any age, you have little control to no control of this stuff. And I did find out, though, she had her thyroid removed and she was on all these medications. And it's like stuff I didn't know that I'm sure play into things like that. But, he's a blessing no matter what. And it's been a beautiful thing. But I thought, gosh, it's like whether you're 20 or you're 40, it's all out of our hands,
It's so true.
Yeah. How is, if I can ask you, I know it's kind of personal, but is breastfeeding, has that been an easy thing for you?
Would you like to feel more energy and a better sense of well-being? What's flowing through your blood makes all the difference. In my 22 years of nutritional practice, I've found that the food and supplements taken into the body determines to a large degree the amount of energy and happiness people have. One giant step in the direction of more energy and happiness is the type and quantity of protein you consume. 2 years ago, I was introduced to a whey protein powder that gave me more energy and a better sense of well-being. Having struggled with low energy, this was a welcome experience. This protein is called One World Whey. It is the first ever undamaged whey protein powder from grass-fed cows. People report the following: profound improvements in blood sugar and energy, elimination of pain, better bowel movements, detoxification, younger-looking skin and fat loss. Athletes love the strength and endurance-producing effects. Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
And in my opinion, this is the best raw grass-fed protein powder on the market. It's developed on Amish farms. It's got 25 grams of protein in each single scoop. Crazy amount of protein. Increases your glutathione levels. It helps to release heavy metals and toxins, decreases inflammation all throughout the body, especially in the gut. And not only that, but it helps you build muscle and increase energy as well. It has tons of anti-aging properties. So really, really great protein powder. We like to use it every day in our smoothies. And our resident cancer guru, Ty Bollinger, what do you think about One World Whey?
Over the commercial there, you're talking about One World Whey. I want to encourage anybody that's listening, go to their website, go to Justin and Kate's website, and buy the One World Whey. That's something that we include every day in our diet. Every lunch, we have a One World Whey smoothie with super greens mixed in with it. It is fantastic. It's the best protein you're going to get. And as they mentioned, it's from grass-fed cows. It's organic. It's cold pressed. I mean, it is, you're going to get huge nutritive values from this One World Whey. It's the best protein on the market, I think. So then that's something that most people are deficient in is quality protein. So I highly recommend you go there and go to their website and buy this stuff. It's the best that's on the market. And I'm good friends with Stephen Hewer, who is the owner of Synergistic Nutrition. And he's a quality guy, and they have excellent customer service as well.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. We interviewed him on episode 88, and he's just an amazing guy, and I really love what he's doing. That's why I love supporting his work and love taking his products as well.
Yeah, great stuff.
And if you'd like to support Extreme Health Radio and the work that Kate and I do, you can get your hands on this One World Whey protein powder that I love so much at extremehealthradio.com/whey. That's WHEY. or you could check it out in our store as well. That's extremehealthradio.com/whey.
Yeah, so that's one thing with a C-section is sometimes the baby doesn't connect with the mom,
Right?
Because you don't immediately get them. But I had the colostrum. Oh, that was another thing in the hospital. I was producing so much colostrum. They've never seen that.
Really?
They're so impressed.
All that milk you were drinking.
I drink a ton of raw milk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, breastfeeding's been fine. I haven't had any problems, so I've been really blessed with that. I hear of a lot of people that struggle with even cracked and bleeding nipples and different things, and I have had nothing. It's been fine.
Oh,
wow. That's cool. That's cool. And did you drink raw goat milk or raw cow's milk?
I drink mostly all cow. I do have one raw goat milk source. It's not as easy to get to.
Okay.
But then I get my raw milk from the Amish, so it's all old world heritage cows. It's all A2 milk.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's good. I believe it's good for my body.
That's great.
It feels good.
I wanted to ask you, having been into this sort of raw meat lifestyle for so long, what was your childhood like in terms of because we were talking earlier about bacteria. What was your gut flora like? Did you have vaccines? Did you have a lot of these things, antibiotics and things that people have when they're growing up as kids? What was your gut biome like before you started doing the raw meat?
I've never had anyone ask me that.
I know, that's a good question.
Well, yeah, because some people will say to me, because we had Agenus Vonderplanus back on the show years ago, and people will write in and say, well, he sort of trained his body, or he has, or he had great gut flora at the time. And so I'm just curious, if certain people are behind the eight ball in terms of their upbringing, if they've had a ton of antibiotics and a ton of vaccines, maybe the raw meat would be something to ease into more slowly and be more consciously aware of that versus jumping into it. If you were raised naturally and, you can kind of handle that, a faster start to that kind of lifestyle.
Interesting question.
Yeah. I don't know. I just was curious.
Right. I didn't have many antibiotics or vaccines, actually.
Oh,
my mom was really up on not giving vaccines and stuff. So
lucky.
I did jump right into eating the raw meat. The reason why I would say that people wouldn't want to jump right in if they've had a really toxic background is because just like any raw food, it has all the enzymes and it's a probiotic. It's really detoxifying. So I have found when people jump into 100% anything, either raw vegan or the raw paleo, they could go just too much into a detox too fast. So I definitely... it's good to find out the backgrounds and see where people are coming from, their current health and their history, to know how much and how often to eat of the raw food.
Yeah, because I see on your website now, your latest post that you did just back in December about raw chicken. And for most people, their thought is just oh my gosh, yeah, maybe I'll do raw cow meat, muscle meat, or something like that. But everyone will say, "Oh, chicken, you can't eat that raw," And
right.
I know. Well, we have such a psychological block here in America. I mean, there's raw meat dishes in every culture. There's a staple. Everyone has their carpaccio or their tartare or kibbeh or whatever it's going to be called. In Japan, they have a raw chicken meal. It's just here that there's so much fear around food and bacteria and parasites, when really, we have a symbiotic relationship with all of it. I'm not afraid of it. Did I get off key? I got off track there on the answer, I think.
No. It's interesting. Yeah. Because you're sort of busting a lot of these myths for people, and you're doing it in an experimental way where you're showing people yourself that, this is the way I eat and I'm fine, And,
Oh, right. That's what we were talking about, the raw chicken. Right. Yeah, it's like the last thing I bring up because I don't want to scare people too much. I don't have any fear of a raw chicken or a chicken that's running around on grass and soaking up sunlight and eating bugs and larvae and whatever chickens are meant to eat and designed to eat. It's perfectly fine to me to eat it raw like you would eat raw sushi or a raw beef or anything else. I don't see what the difference is between the animal. If it's a clean animal, it's going to produce clean food. That's where I'm coming from with it.
Now,
But yeah, it's usually the last thing I introduce. So, raw eggs is the easiest. And, that's your raw fat and raw protein, pasture raised eggs. And then I talk about raw milk and raw butter. And then I'll go into that I eat raw meat and raw organs are included, raw heart and raw liver. And then the very last thing is, you can eat raw chicken too.
By the way,
it's interesting that people will balk more at, it's just so crazy how conditioned we are, because people will balk more at eating raw chicken than they will eating organ meat raw of a cow.
Right. I know.
It's weird.
There's a lot of fear around it, but I go straight to the farmer and I see the grass that the chickens are on, and the facility is very clean. This is what I kind of do this test where I tell the farmer or the butcher, I say, so I'm going to eat this raw. I don't know if you've ever heard of the raw paleo diet. And if they cringe and kind of go, oh, I don't recommend that, then I think, well, maybe their practices aren't the best,
Oh,
but
good.
So true.
That's a good litmus test.
Yeah, and then my farmer, I said, I'm going to be eating this chicken raw. That's why I drove out here to see the farm. He's like, great. I know other people that do that. And he didn't even flinch at it. Wow. So I know he's producing really clean food.
That's so
now,
interesting.
what would you say, and have you yourself experimented or done any raw, what's the word? Oh, pig. Have you done any pork products raw?
I don't do raw pork. That's one thing, because I follow the Autogenesis book as well, the Primal Diet, and he never did pork. He never did pork raw. Now, I will eat some bacon time to time for fun.
I love that.
I love that that's your fun.
A little party, have some bacon.
Because I honestly don't feel the best after I do that. I feel tired. I feel a difference in my body because the raw meat is loaded with enzymes. And there's a lot of vitamin B6 and B12 and all these raw nutrients. You're getting these nutrients, and so you immediately feel this energy. I actually have a lot of clients that can't eat it at night because it'll keep them up because they get so much energy. Oh my gosh. But I know even like with cooked pork, I just immediately need to go take a nap.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, interesting. Does raw pork scare you more than any other meat? Because you hear these. I actually knew someone who had eaten some undercooked pork, and the worst case scenario where they got like a tapeworm or whatever it was, that migrated to their brain, and they had this brain surgery, and she made it. But you hear those kinds of things more associated with pork. Does that have any bearing on why you don't do it?
Has the trichinosis. That's one reason for not eating raw pork, is there just would not be a clean enough source of it.
Okay.
Now, have you ever done the Autogenes von der Planets, the world famous power shakes? Have you done those?
Oh, do they have all the raw organs in them?
Yeah, so he's got the power shakes, and there's one for women and one for men to balance hormones. And it's a series of ingredients like raw milk or raw goat milk, I think. Raw honey as the sweetener. And then all the rest of it is like lung and brain and thyroid and stuff like that. And the women get the ovary and the men get the testicle. And then it's all blended up, whipped up in a nice little shake and down the hatch.
That is so funny. It sounds pretty gross, huh?
It does. It does.
Even
but I haven't done it yet, so I was curious if you've done that. But people say that, or Autogenes would claim back in the day that would reset your hormones for a year.
Wow.
Right. I remember him saying that, and his power shake, he would have energy for days.
Yeah.
I believe it would reset the hormones. I personally have not had all those organs mixed in. I've gone to organ parties where people would bring raw organs and we sit around and eat them.
Oh my gosh.
Strange. But I had the adrenal, so you do get a high from eating the raw adrenal.
Dang.
And then just the heart, the liver, and some kidney, but the kidney didn't taste good to me. It was strong. But yeah, I have not had the power shake.
Yeah. It's fascinating because, there's a friend of the show and a personal friend of ours who's now working with the Hippocrates Institute. But her husband was, obviously he didn't follow the Hippocrates sort of diet and lifestyle with all the greens and stuff, but he was more into the stuff that you're into. And he was telling me over dinner one night that the raw meat diet and the raw organs, because he followed autogenous as well, completely rebuilt his entire digestive tract. And, you know, he felt amazing. And it was the only thing. I think he told me
bedridden.
He was bedridden for a couple years, and he had lost like 30 to 50 pounds. And he's a big, tall guy, you know, and he said to me that this raw meat has basically transformed his life. And so when he was talking with me, I just kind of felt this intuitive knowing that someday the raw meat and I are going to have a dance, you know. But I'm wondering if you've had the same experience with your journey with eating raw meat and all
you know,
that.
I did. Yeah, I definitely did. Right in the beginning, I probably noticed it more, and then I just leveled out and just always feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know, I had gone from raw vegan to overeating to eating the raw meat. And that's when I had noticed a lot more muscle coming on. I'm just like the strength. I would always talk about the strength. I mean, right this moment, I'm back to 10 push-ups a day,
Mm-hmm.
but because, you know, I
you.
just had a baby, it's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like really, really heavy into the raw meat. That was like, people were strong around me too. I remember going to these raw meat potlucks, and a lot of people that come to the diet are older. They've tried everything and nothing works. So they're like, all right, give me the raw meat. I need to rebuild and regenerate my tissues. And so I would go to the potlucks, and you hug everybody and you pat their back. And I noticed the men all were strong. They felt sturdy and really strong, and nobody works out.
Whoa.
Wow.
So that's what I noticed, is the strength that comes when you're eating the raw muscle. It's really, I mean, even the raw eggs, all of it. Like Rocky was building muscle by eating the raw eggs.
That's right. That's right.
Down that.
Now, how much of a percentage now is your diet the raw animal products, do you think?
Well, I always have about 50% of my diet's the raw dairy.
Okay.
And I do all, like, so actually, this did happen in the very beginning. I had to cut out raw milk and raw cream. And I could do, because of the nursing. He had a little bit of eczema, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is that? You know, you don't want to hurt your baby. You want to like try to figure out what you're eating.
Yeah.
And so I did cut out the cream and the milk, but I've never cut out raw kefir, raw butter, raw cheese, raw yogurt, like anything fermented seemed to be okay. The fermentation break down the lactose and the casein. So, and then it just was, I don't know if it was the hormones in the raw milk and the raw cream that were more concentrated that didn't work with the first couple months of breastfeeding.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe about 2 months. Yeah. But then, so the ferments were fine. So 50% is always, raw fermented dairy.
And do you eat
green juice? And then the raw meat. So I'm still at about once every 2 weeks. I'm actually doing a cleanse right now, and I have a group cleanse going. And there's raw meat on the cleanse for people that it's optional. And so I will be eating it a lot more these next couple of days because I'm going to be making videos and doing it with the group.
Nice,
Oh,
nice.
cool.
So a part of your diet now is cooked meat.
It is like very rare.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not making it if you overcook meat, you can get the heterocyclic amines and different toxins that form and carcinogens.
Right.
So it's never well done. Yeah, when I'm cooking meat, it's literally the 5-second burger, I call it.
Yeah.
It's 5 seconds on each side.
Wow. So very, very.
Yeah, just kind of searing the outside to kill or to just sort of get that cooking on the outside, I think, right?
Kill anything, because I actually really like the bacteria on the meat, because we have 1,000 species of different bacteria in our gut now, and I don't want just bacteria from fermented vegetables and kombucha, but I'm also getting it from raw eggs, raw milk, raw meat. It's a full spectrum probiotic diet to get the bacteria from all types of raw foods.
Wow.
So I kind of just do it because sometimes it tastes good to have it seared a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you.
It mixes it up a little, right? Well, when you were drawn to this diet, I think you said 7 or 8 years ago, were you, when you started experimenting with this, was the taste, was it an aversion to you, or was it something that you settled into right away and you thought, I actually like the taste of this meat?
Yeah, well, the raw meat itself doesn't have much taste. It's almost like a piece of sushi or something. It just doesn't have much. I flavor it all up with a bunch of fresh thyme, fresh oregano, basil, olive oil, salt, pepper, and olive oil.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, I mean, you're just getting all the herb taste. You hardly taste the meat at all. There is this, like, you know, like what I was saying with the cooked meat it just has a little bit of a different flavor that's good sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, it's not like the raw meat has a bad taste at all. When it's fresh, I go straight to the butcher shop and I get it fresh, never frozen. There's no smell. There's hardly any taste.
That's good to know because, you know, every once in a while when I rarely eat red meat right now. And then when I do, it's unfortunately cooked. But yeah, it's just like I'll be eating it. And sometimes like midway, I can't eat anymore because I'm like, oh, it tastes so gamey or bleh. Like,
yeah, you have an aversion to it.
I
sometimes.
do. And I'm wondering if that's just because it's cooked, you know?
Maybe.
So the thought of it being raw, like in my brain, it's a hard thing for me to overcome because I think, oh, it tastes that much more gamey. But you're right. I mean, when you're cooking up some hamburger meat and it's, you know, in its natural state of raw, yeah, you really don't smell or taste anything until it's frying in the pan.
Plus, you're right. And if you flavored it up with herbs and like Melissa's doing.
I think that's the thing to get, if you're interested in going that route, is you're right, probably season the heck out of it. So you just kind of get used to the idea of it first before you might actually like the taste of it or the non-taste of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, the seasoned versions may pass for you too.
Yeah.
What about in terms of taste and then the texture aversion? A lot of people like with raw eggs, like I'll do raw eggs and raw cheese, and we don't really have any raw milk right now, but you know, that kind of thing. But the texture aversion is an issue for people. Did you have that going in?
You know, the raw eggs, that's hard for me to just swallow. I will do it, but I just kind of have to get it down. Like some people can do it so easily. They suck it out of the egg.
Yeah.
Crack it in the glass separate and swallow it. Wow. But usually there's no texture problem because I just hide it in smoothies. I make a lot of raw milk and raw kefir based smoothies and put raw eggs in there. So that's not a problem. The raw meat, I just cut it really small. It's not a texture problem. It's okay. Like if you closed your eyes and had a bite, you wouldn't be disgusted or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know. It's good.
That's good for people to hear because I think including myself, it kind of is not something that, I mean, culturally, we're just not used to going there. So I just find it really refreshing to talk to somebody so normal who thinks it's just such a normal part of it. It's just really encouraging to me to hear you talk about this. Yeah,
that's kind of my mission is, you know, because everyone I tell usually cringes. And the day that people don't cringe, that I say I eat raw meat.
You've won.
Yeah, you know what's cool is that you know, you're doing what you're doing, but a lot of people, it's funny because just having been in this world for so long, you see people and they sort of gravitate from one to the other, like you did. Like you went from raw vegan to doing animal foods. But what a lot of people do is they say, well, I'm not going to do the vegan thing anymore. I'm just going to do the animal food. So they'll tell you about their diet and it's 100% animal based. There's no plants at all. But what you're doing is cool because you never really said no to the raw vegan thing. You know, you're just like, okay, it's going to be a part of my diet, but so is this. And so it's kind of it's a hybrid. Yeah. So it's really cool what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I call it a raw omnivorous diet. So it's just raw everything. It includes everything.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of blowback from that? I mean, people are just in general angry and mean for whatever reason, but do people come at you and say that's not a real diet or that's crazy? Or do you have to fend people off or do you just let them be them and you be you? But do they come at you?
Yeah, you know, it depends where they're coming from. The paleo crowd is super interested. Like, what do you mean? Like, I eat so much meat. You can eat it raw.
Right.
You know, people that are into meat, it's intriguing to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, it can be pretty offensive for vegans. I'm eating their friends raw.
Right, you know? Right. Oh my gosh.
And then, you know, this is funny, but on my Instagram account, I was actually on the news in Germany when I was pregnant. They had this huge story on me, you know, Raw Paleo Melissa is endangering her unborn child.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to bring that up.
Like someone that I know that follows me that lives in Germany shared the clip with me, like, all these comments. It was this big thing.
How did you react to that? Was that unnerving, or was it cool to kind of get your work out there? Or did you view it as like a negative or a positive thing? Or
I guess it was both. It feels a little violating that people use you as a story and you're not asked or anything.
Yeah, no kidding.
They're getting more content for their media.
Oh my gosh, I wonder. That's so funny. In my mind, I'm thinking the legality of that. I mean, I guess anyone can write anything on you that they want, but that seems so like kind of invasive.
Yeah,
to your space. Funny, but... Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, because they have a lot of raw meat over there too.
Oh, it's more culturally like popular.
Yeah, so that's why I was actually surprised with the article more. I would think so that would come from here.
Yeah, is that like, are you talking more than just Germany, like Europe in general, or is Germany more known for being open to that stuff?
Oh, I don't know about exactly.
Okay.
No, yeah, but I just know that Europe in general is more open to the raw meat.
That is too funny.
Yeah, I mean, they're still following me and they can see that I have a really strong, healthy baby. There's no problem.
Right. Proof's always in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
Do you recommend for, people listening that are pregnant to begin adding in raw when they're at least raw meat? Because I think, the raw dairy and the raw egg make people not cringe as much, but if people are open to it, do you think that's a good thing to add in while you're pregnant, or is that something that people...
You should do before?
Yeah, to kind of ease into that.
Right.
I think I think it would be fine to add in if it's a clean source. There's nothing wrong with it. It would be like going to a fancy French restaurant and ordering steak tartare, just serving it up like that. What was I going to say with that? Yeah, I mean, I would definitely add in the raw milk, no problem. Like that would, and raw eggs. It would depend on if the person's fully on board. Like I have some people that are so afraid of it and they ask me like 10 million questions about parasites. And I'm like thinking, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Like intuitively, like babies will even kids grab at raw meat or eat raw eggs or, and if someone's like, yeah, I really feel like I want to add that in, great, add it, I would. When someone's coming from a real fear-based mentality, I almost think the food would not be good for them.
Yeah. Right.
The mind is so powerful too. So I've run into that across. I remember this one woman was so afraid of raw milk, and I just said, well, you don't have to drink it then. If you're that afraid, it's probably not the best thing for you.
No, that's true, because psychologically it does more damage than, just eating what you're eating and trying to remain calm and happy. And I'm curious about the people, going through this pregnancy. It's so funny. They'll give you a list of deli meats and cheeses and things you're not supposed to eat. But like when people are eating these soft cheeses, like that are not pasteurized, that they scare the heck out of you and say you're going to get listeria or your infection risk could be high. Do you tend to agree with that though more because they are coming from an unclean source? Would you be really leery of that and open to that idea of it being a little more unnerving for people and the risk of infection being higher?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't eat soft cheese.
Okay.
I did follow a lot of Weston A. Price stuff too with being pregnant. I'm really into, about the Weston A. Price diet.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And she has a little section in her baby book about not eating the soft cheese because of listeria. So that's fine. Like I didn't eat any of that.
I read that too, and I was like, interesting.
I ate plenty of hard raw cheese though the whole time, and even cottage cheese.
Did you?
From the Amish, and that was fine.
Do you have a local sect in your area, or can you order these things online for people listening, or?
We have a private food drop, so you could become a member of the farm, and then just depends on where you are. Like I'm close to Phoenix right now, Phoenix, Arizona. So there's a drop. There's a big pallet that comes in. There's 50 families that line up. There's a half-hour window to go get your dairy when it gets dropped.
Wow,
no way.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they have these all around. We had one in Venice Beach, and we had one up when I was in Marin County. So, when there's a will, there's a way. There's rawmilk.com. You put in your zip code. There's farmers to find the raw dairy. But the Amish, I could definitely give you, it's Miller Organics Farm.
Oh, I was just going to mention them. The ones in Birmingham, Pennsylvania?
Yep, that's them.
Look
nice.
at you.
Yeah,
I was going to ask her too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about them. Now, are they a private? A few years ago when I looked at their website, I think they were redoing it or something, but it's all functioning now, do you think?
Yeah, it's all functioning, and you can sign a membership and pay a fee and become a member, and they just have the best dairy.
Oh, cool.
It's like I started on that years ago because I was a part of the Club Rawsome in Venice Beach.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I stuck with that same farmer, the Amish farmer, the Miller Organics.
Yeah, I know he'll send you stuff that's not frozen, but it's packaged cold, like in dry ice or something, so that because even they understand like a lot of the vital force is removed when you freeze the raw meat. So.
Yeah, any extreme hot or cold is going to denature some of the proteins and enzymes and bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cool thing.
I'm curious, because we're probably getting close to wrapping up, but yes. How do you plan on feeding Jeremiah? Are you going to introduce these? I mean, whatever he grabs for, are you just open to, putting the same thing on the table that you're eating and just let him go for it?
I would be open to it. Yeah, I think I need to watch myself a little bit with posting about things like that. I don't know if child services could come after
Oh,
me.
man.
Jeez.
I don't know about the guidelines with that.
Yeah, I think it would probably be better to not post it, but then just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy though. It's like it's so nutty to even say out loud, isn't it? That's like it's your child, but you have you still have to be
it's crazy.
somewhat careful. Like, I don't know, you're trying your best for him, but yeah, I mean, that's hard because if you're hiding it and you're doing it, that's one thing. But like if your kid gets some bizarre infection and you go to the hosptal and they're like, what are you feeding your kid? I mean, it's just so sad that as a parent, you have to think about all these things.
Yeah. And if you say, I feed him raw meat, they're going to
look at you wide-eyed.
Right. When it probably would never be the meat. It's
right. It's probably like a piece of macaroni off the floor.
Right.
Right. Well, Sally Fallon says the first baby foods are raw liver and raw egg yolk. They kind of blend it into a shake.
Cool.
So they do say that in that book.
Good. We'll stand behind her.
Yeah.
She's on our side.
Yeah, we had her on the show a few years back. She's cool. I like her a lot. She's great.
Her book is really great. Do you recommend a lot of other material? I mean, do you have was she your go-to book that you kind of
Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering was a good one.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, it was all about the unassisted birth and just, kind of no intervention where someone's actually delivering your baby, but you would just catch it on your own and just have this natural, gentle birth. That was a good book. And then, I have the Sally Fallon, the baby book.
Okay.
I did look into that a couple times, I remember.
Yeah, she's been good. I need to delve back into that. It's funny when you first become pregnant, I was like reading all this stuff and then I kind of got sick and you kind of go into survival mode. But now that I'm over that, I'm really interested now in adding a ton of information back in.
I wanted to ask Melissa about morning sickness. Did you get any of that?
I had that. Yeah, I was shocked. I thought, how could I have this? I'm so healthy.
Right.
Yeah, me too. It was weird.
Yeah, I had it. Well, no, I was like you. I actually did hair for 20 years. I was a hairstylist before getting into raw food.
Oh, my goodness.
We do have the same life path.
The liver was still kind of toxic, and I was just dumping all toxins in the beginning or something.
Shoot.
Wow, isn't that amazing? Like, man, that hair salon life is so much more toxic than people understand.
Oh, I know. Thank God we're not doing that anymore.
Thank God.
You did that for 20 years?
20 years.
Yeah, well, it was 15, and then I just count 20 because I still do haircuts from time to time.
Yeah.
That's what Kate does,
keep my friends and family happy on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It is a wild journey, but I mean, that's what kind of propelled me into this world and of health because when your organs aren't happy, ain't nobody happy. Like I was suffering, and once I got out, I mean, I've had a lot of, still not perfect, but I had a lot of detoxing to do to get that stuff out. And man, am I happy I've done that before bringing a child into the world, because gosh, I would work around women, as you probably did, in the salons for years that would just be popping out number 3, number 4 while they're, breathing in that stuff, touching that stuff. They'd be in the salon all day from sun up to sundown with a pregnant, with a baby in their belly. And that just makes me really nervous.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very good.
It doesn't, does it? I know.
Now, how is your partner? Does he eat raw meat? What's his diet like?
Yeah, well, he's really into hunting, so he eats a lot of wild game.
Nice.
I ate a lot of it being pregnant too, and that would creep up. I'd be like, "Is this okay?" I'd be trying to research because I would be eating rabbit and stuff, and asking what kind of bullets he's using in the gun. I didn't want to get lead poisoning. And,
right.
I mean, everything's fine, and he does eat raw meat if I make it, but he just thinks that he likes the taste of cooked meat.
Okay.
He's not afraid of it or anything. And but yeah, with him around, we eat a lot of wild not raw. We actually cook the wild meat.
Okay.
The rabbit and the javelina deer. So
that's cool. And you guys are out in Arizona in Sedona?
Right, yes.
Sedona area.
Wow, yeah, I saw some pictures on your Instagram of the hikes. Man, it looks just so beautiful out there right now.
So gorgeous. I'm not sure if it's the right environment for raising a baby, because it seems harsh in the desert, and there's a lot of these little prickly things and thorns, and you can't really go barefoot, and I'm so into grounding.
Yeah.
That I think there can be a softer environment for a baby when he starts crawling. So we're going to take a road trip around and see what's out there in the summer.
That's neat.
That's cool. What places interest you?
Well, wherever, I'm actually getting my hunting license too. So wherever the hunting is good, maybe Idaho, Montana, Colorado, something like that.
Neat.
That's cool. And I took a little bathroom break a while ago. I'm not sure if Kate asked you, do you get like what does your family and his family think about the raw diet for your son?
Well, my mom's on board. I have her eating raw meat.
Oh, cool.
And raw dairy. Like she just, if it's really good for her being an older woman, it just keeps her really strong, all the tissues and muscles, and like the raw dairy keeps her skin softer and moist, because you tend to dry up. And I'm just like, you need more fat, you need more animal fat every day,
Right.
So my mom's fine with it. His parents may be a little more conventional about it.
Wow. So did they make their voices known to you?
No, they haven't. I think they had told him a little bit about not being on board with a home birth, and then he didn't really fight it too much, and then look what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hear anything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet.
It's so fascinating to me that it's just so crazy and weird and bizarre that you have these lifestyles that essentially are going back to nature and going back to how we should be living. Mm-hmm. But so many people are just in the matrix, and they're so stuck in this fake view of reality that we all live under, that is dominated by media and fear and all of this kind of stuff. And so when you go back to nature, they're just scared, and they're telling you stuff, and they're trying to put fear in you, and they're trying to argue with you. And it seems like it would make more sense if it were the other way around. But it's just, the whole world we live in.
I think the mindset is that progression. They're thinking progression is best, and progression is a good thing, when in reality sometimes it's the undoing of us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I know. People can. Oop.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, phew, we found you.
Yeah, people can get so disconnected. That's like part of all of our mission, is to get back to nature.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So true. So your cookbook, I got to ask about this, because there's a lot of people that have been on the show and they have different cookbooks, but
your cookbook / uncookbook.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting because, it involves a whole different a vital element of food, which is raw meat. Mm-hmm. And so in your cookbook, you're teaching people how to put these things together so they taste really good?
Yeah. So, I kind of divided up into raw butter recipes, and then raw milkshakes, and then raw meat, raw chicken, raw fish. It's all in there. And whatever I tell people, it's just try one thing at a time. Just go slow. There's over 100 recipes to try different ways to eat the raw meat, and the ceviche, like fish ceviche, is pretty easy for people. Yeah.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That's
and
exciting.
If people want to do this and they cannot find a local area or local farm to join, would it be possible for someone to create an account on Miller's Organics? We'll put a link to it in this show page, and then get their raw meat delivered that way, and then take part in some of your recipes?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's definitely, yeah, it depends on where people live. Even if there's a Whole Foods, if number one would be a specialty butcher shop where that's a whole animal. That's what I always ask. Are you a whole animal butchery?
Oh.
Because then they're getting the whole animal in. It's fresh. It's never frozen. Usually they have grass-fed and organic. And then if they don't have that anywhere near them at all, within an hour or something, there's always a Whole Foods. I go to Whole Foods and buy their organic and grass-fed and grass-finished meat and eat that raw.
And can you order, or when you go to Whole Foods, I don't think I've seen much organ meat. Can you get organ meat through Whole Foods that way?
No, I don't get organ meat there. There's a North Star Bison is a place that I order from.
Okay.
Online, they'll slaughter and they ship overnight and stuff. I mean, it's super fresh.
Oh, that's good to know.
North Star Bison.
You got that?
Yeah, North Star Bison. That's a lot of the bison liver that I'll eat, the bison heart.
Okay.
I guess, I'm thinking about the heart that I get. It's usually all from butcher shops.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. So there's some
good
options.
resources for people.
Yeah, definitely some options.
Now, are you leading people through a detox cleanse right now? Do you do that often with people? Is that something people can jump on board and work with you with, or how do you?
On my website, I have a opt-in sheet, how to get started on a raw paleo diet.
Cool.
So they opt into that. But then also once you're on the list, I'm always sending out about the cleanse. The cleanse is actually mostly all vegetarian except for the raw cheese and the raw meat. It's a lot of blended soups, every kind of vegetable, tomatoes and onions, everything's blended up. It's like a good old cleanse to take a break from eating so much food or chocolate or things people ate over the holidays.
Right. That's so true.
And then, of course, like with me nursing, I'm eating a lot of the raw cheese and the raw meat, too, just to get the calories in.
Sure. Yeah, you're getting depleted. You're cafe mom all the time, aren't you?
So, the baby's always going to get what he needs, but I got to keep myself healthy.
That's true.
Yeah. In closing, I'm just curious, do you have a plan as far as how long you want to breastfeed? Or are you letting that go just with his decision too?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I know some people go 3, 4, 5 years in my community here around me.
I bet.
But, personally, I don't know if I'll go past 2 years. That's just what keeps coming up for me, feeling comfortable with.
Sure. Yeah, it's such an individual decision,
Yeah, I think really like 1 year they would probably get like the most important part, the majority of what they need.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I would think that I would probably feel comfortable with 2. When it's like a really big child and they're jumping in your lap and pulling down your shirt, you're in the middle of a conversation or something. I guess it's all personal.
Right.
While they're talking to you with their mouth full of teeth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell this story really fast.
Yeah.
I had this it just reminded me. Do you remember, Justin? I had this reoccurring dream on and off for years, where it was so real, and I was pregnant with this baby and I was so excited. And it was such a real dream that at the time, I was in the hospital and they were coming to check me. Everything was very real and my doctor was there. It was very strange. And every time this baby would be delivered, it would come out as like a 3-year-old with a full set of teeth, and it was speaking Spanish to me. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember.
And I remember thinking, this isn't fair. Everybody else gets a baby to hold. My baby's walking around talking, and why is it speaking another language? And I just remember thinking it happened like 4 or 5 times, and I thought, this is so strange.
That is funny.
I don't know what that means. It probably means nothing, but
you should go to a psychic or something.
I know. I feel like I got gypped of my whole experience. I'm like, what happens to the lead up? It's such a natural thing to, you'd want to have this baby go through this process with you, but
that's funny.
It was silly. Anyway. You never know where those things come from.
You never know where those things come from.
I think I need some raw meat.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Anyway.
So, Melissa, on your site, rawpaleo.com, what is your mission with that, and what will people find when they go there?
Well, they'll find if you enter your email, you get a free how to get started. A lot of people are like, how would I ever get started? So I send out a free guide. And then they get, I don't do like a crazy amount of emails, maybe twice a month, and just the latest things that I'm into, health and nutrition and new recipes and, news about a cleanse coming up. So I'm also coming out with a course too, like a really easy, what is the raw paleo diet? How do I get started on it? And answering all the questions people come at me with.
Yes.
Now that is really cool, because I would be super into that. When is that going to come out?
Hopefully soon. I'm just trying to figure out which platform to put it on.
Wow.
So in the course, you'll teach people, I'm assuming through video, and like how to make stuff and what to look out for, what to buy, how to put it all together and all that kind of stuff?
I was going to start out simple with an audio course.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, with an audio course and then the PDF. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the video yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just so used to seeing video courses, but
Yeah.
that sounds really cool.
That's
okay.
really cool.
So that will be available like in the next few months, kind of thing, probably.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
I know. I got the idea from my midwife, because when I signed up with her, she had an audio course, and I sat and listened to all 5 courses, and I thought, oh, that's a good idea.
Wow.
Good for you.
Okay.
People are going to connect with that. Oh, I'm glad you're going to put that in the world.
Yeah, let us know when you do that, and we'll send
We'll
it out
share
to. Yeah, we'll share it.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
Cool.
This was such a joy to have you on.
Well, I'm just looking at your butter banana cream pie here on
the
Instagram,
heck?
and it's making me hungry. So. That looks so good.
That's so good. It's so delicious. I mean, it's better than any type of cooked food you could ever have,
Yeah.
Now, one final thing. Are you doing like a low sugar keto, kind of a low sugar kind of deal, or are you doing, raw honeys and things like that?
Yeah, I don't really do the keto because I do raw honey, and I do a lot of fruit. I do frozen berries in my smoothies every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
every
well-
kind of berry there is, but
Well, then this raw banana cream butter pie looks like it would taste really good.
yeah, it's really good. There's not that much raw honey. There's 1 tablespoon in the crust and 1 tablespoon in the filling, so it's not that bad.
Oh, that looks great.
That looks insane.
Wow.
We might have to make that today.
I know. That looks really good.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, thanks,
So
Melissa,
fun.
for sharing some of your journey, and especially about your pregnancy, and keep us informed what's going on.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's a joy.
Awesome stuff. All right. Thank you so much. Hang on the line there really quick, and I'm just going to close out the show. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. If you guys want to go over, check out her website and get some of these tips, I'm going to sign up to her newsletter list to get to how to get started, because I have felt myself
Yeah.
a particular calling to raw meat, and just start the journey and see what that's all about. So I'm going to sign up to her list and
I find it interesting.
Started,
There's a couple of things that you've been drawn to, that and some certain plant medicines over the years. And I feel like, they're waiting for you to try out. So
yeah, so I'm going to do
gotta
that.
start.
Yeah, so if this show has been helpful or impactful to you in any way, please share it with your friends. Melissa, Kate, and I would appreciate that. If you know anybody who's pregnant or maybe considering eating a more healthy kind of a diet during their pregnancy, pass this show on to them. We'd really appreciate it. So thank you guys. We love you all, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. So I wanted to tell you about this really awesome pad that Kate and I have been sleeping on for the past few months, and it's called the Magnetico Mattress Pad. And it's quite amazing to sleep on, or sleep in, I should say, a field of magnetism. And this is the main way that Kate and I are mitigating potential 5G that's coming, as well as EMF radiation and wireless radiation and cell towers all around our house, is sleeping on one of these Magnetico mattress pads. I'm telling you, these things are awesome. And it's my opinion that we should all really focus on those areas of our life where we spend the most time or where we do the most healing. And that is, in my opinion, the first place to start is where we sleep. So these magnetic to increase oxygen levels in the body, as well as reducing free radicals, which is the cause of aging and disease, as well as increasing athletic performance, increasing healing time, reduces pain. But I love knowing that when I get in bed, I am bathing myself in magnetism. And it's light, water, and magnetism are the three elemental keys of all health. So I would highly recommend looking at the research that's in our store. Check out our store and check out the Magnetico mattress pads there. And I'd also be remiss to not tell you about the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. That's our best-selling product. The number one product we have is the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. This is my go-to tool. I use it probably about 5 days a week, and it is very, very low EMF. It's really quite an amazing healing tool, using far infrared light to penetrate all the way into your bones. And what's great is that it's portable. You don't have to move it anywhere. Or if you have to move it, it's portable. You can lend it to a friend. You can break it down in a couple of minutes. It's easy to clean. It's easy to operate. It fires up immediately, so it gets hot right away. And sweating has been shown to radically reduce the amount of toxins, chemicals, and poisons that we're exposed to that get stored in our fat cells, to shake those off and to actually sweat those through the glands of the skin, and to be able to increase circulation, increase lymphatic flow, decrease toxicity. It's just an amazing, amazing healing practice to have in your house. And I just recommend getting a Relax Far Infrared Sauna. Look more into the research. Look more into them. We love these ones. I've had mine for about 5 years now, and we use it about 5 days a week, summer, winter, and fall, and spring. It's just an incredible healing tool to have in your house, and to get into habit of doing a sauna session every single day. We sit in ours about 30 minutes a day on average, and I watch documentaries. Your head is out, so your head doesn't get too hot. It's just an awesome piece of equipment. So make sure to check out the Relax Far Infrared Sauna in our store. All right, raw meat.
You feel so drawn to that?
You know what? It's funny. It's like I don't necessarily feel drawn to it as much. I mean, I do feel drawn to it, that's for sure. But I don't feel drawn to it like, oh, it's something that I'm craving.
No,
or
you
something
feel drawn to the effects of what it could do for your gut or your healing.
Right?
Right.
So
I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's like I'm to the point now, right now, every now and then I think people will go through different types of gut issues, and you might be exposed to something and your gut feels bad, and for a long time I felt really good. So, but there are times when my gut has felt bad where I'm just willing to do whatever it takes.
Oh man, I hear you. When stuff gets really low, you'll I mean, I can see why people go bananas trying to figure these things out. I mean, if you feel like you've done everything, there's always something you haven't done. And if that's the one thing that turns your life around, I mean, our friend you were talking about, our friend's husband, sounds like it literally saved him from, he was in a bad place.
I mean, he must have had something like Crohn's. I think he had some sort of diagnosed issue, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it was years ago when we first met them for dinner. I remember him talking about it, but I'll never forget that. We met at a really cool, grass-fed free-range restaurant that had some good stuff, but even he had a little bag of his own raw meat to add into
that's right.
to add into the soup.
Yeah, he had a soup and then added some of his own raw meat.
It was great.
And then also too, when we ate at the health food store, remember, he did the same thing, but he had raw chicken with him.
That's right.
And then he put the raw chicken in the soup that he just bought.
Just to and it was just warm soup, so I didn't really cook the heck out of it, but it was just. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, our family thinks we're crazy. Isn't. I just give such big props to Melissa and people like her that live their convictions. I mean, it might not be a popular thing. When you went to the restroom, you missed this whole part, which is so great, but everyone listening will have heard it. But she said that someone when
I came back, you guys were talking about Europe, so I wasn't sure what.
Someone in Germany had reposted or shared a post of her and what she was doing while she was pregnant, eating this way. Okay. And it made it onto a news story over there and became this big controversial, like, really? This is, she's not caring about her unborn baby, and this woman's taking, this baby's life into her hands. And it became this thing. And I'm like, because I was asking her if there was a bit of blowback from that's other communities and things.
Went to the bathroom,
She said it is so funny, and I said, I wonder about you think the legality of these people name smearing and things like that. But anyone can write anything on you that they want and share anything. But she said it was so funny to kind of be so like not really know that world, but have all these people talking about her and this big thing over in, in Germany. But
so what happened? Did she get?
No, she just kind of, it came and went. And,
it wasn't like the cops showed up at her door.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not at all. But they were just sharing like what, as a pregnant woman, they didn't think that was a responsible thing to do, or that she was causing, so that's the kind of stuff, like, to live your conviction is just, it's intense. And you have to be so, I love that her midwife was so on board with like, what do you feel your baby, needs? What is that connection? We forget that spiritual connection you have from the minute it's a little spark. I mean, you just don't, it's weird being pregnant at this age, at this point I'm like halfway and I'm just starting to connect with it because I feel it move. Mm-hmm. But there's a connection that happens long before it even is conceived. And so I feel like, if you really trust that your body is craving what it needs, knows what it needs, and you're not eating a bunch of crap, then good on you. Good for her. Like, who's to tell her that that's right or wrong?
It's so crazy because all throughout our lives, and even from before we're born, we're taught to look to other human beings for opinions, advice, ideas, and what they think that we should do. Mm-hmm. And that goes for like reading a textbook or reading any book, because a book is just a series of ideas by another human being.
Right.
So here we are as human beings, and we're taught to like suppress the very thing that we have intuitively inside ourselves and to condition ourselves. And every time you do that, like, I think every time that you look to someone else for advice,
you're giving away a bit of your power.
Well, yeah, you're giving away a bit of your power, but you're also exercising the muscle of getting the endorphin rush of doing that. So when someone gives you some bit of advice that you intuitively already know that you want to do, like, should I eat this Snickers bar? And if you're a 10-year-old kid, you want to eat the Snickers bar. So when someone says, yes, eat the Snickers bar, then you get an endorphin rush, and you're exercising the muscle of constantly asking other people what they think you should do. But at the same time, so that's happening on one side, so it becomes like an addictive process. But then on the other side, you get this atrophy of not exercising your own intuition. So the less you use your intuition, the less you understand that it's there. And then you get to a point where you even forget about it. So then you forget that you have an intuition. And then, so now, because you forget about that and you become so addicted to asking for other people's opinions, we live in a world where we're too afraid to take the first step because we're so disconnected from ourselves that we don't even understand that we intuitively know what to do.
Well,
so it's a double side.
It goes a step further too, because I love my family and they tried their best and I was loved and cared for. But like, I grew up in a family where I wasn't even asking for these opinions and these, ways that they did things were just put on to me.
Oh, right.
And so I didn't even really so much ask, like, what do you think I should do? It was more implied that they knew the right answer. Right. And so after a while, you kind of get shut down in a lot of ways from even realizing, like, you're not even asking. You're kind of throwing something out there as a non-question, as your own opinion, and that gets shut down. So slowly you just realize that, like, wow, you get conditioned to believe they do know better than me, and
they love me.
And they love me, and I've made it. They care for me, like,
right.
So not even having to uncondition that, but to condition it for the first time in your life, to build.
It's a muscle.
It's a muscle. I had to build a muscle from my, I'd say, early adulthood on.
Of what? Making your own decisions and trusting in your own intuition?
Yes. And that muscle for me included not asking people. And that was hard because I was getting things told to me or conveyed to me without even many words. It sounds so strange to even try to describe. It was just a way of growing up in that household.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean because I've understand.
You've experienced my family, and God, again, God love them. They're great people, but they just have a different way of doing things than we do.
100%.
So I guess I just didn't even know I had a muscle, So for me, it was even going a step further and being really conscious of not asking. And that was like pulling teeth. You'd be like, oh, but I can't believe I'm going to step out on the limb and make this choice and not ask anybody and not tell anybody.
It's such a habit, right?
Oh, it's crazy. And to this day, I still struggle. And, at 39 years old, if I say something and get a look or a judgment or somebody, unfortunately, I feel like it is going to be a little bit of a hard journey with my family talking about the vaccination issue with kids. Yeah, and there's already been a few things said. And that was 2 months pregnant. And so, now I'm having to operate and condition a different set of muscles of like empowerment muscles and a knowledge. It's just you keep evolving. You'd hope you keep evolving within yourself and your strengths as you get older. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like to atrophy things and never have them used again or forget about them. That's a really kind of frightening place to be, I think.
Yeah, it's hard because when you're doing one, you're not doing the other. You know, so when you're
choosing one by not choosing the other, or by choosing.
Yeah, so with these things, it's like you can't do both at the same time.
Right.
So when you constantly are seeking out the advice of other people and not willing to be in touch with yourself, then they give that endorphin rush, and then you're weakening the muscle that you should be strengthening by. It's like allowing someone to go through the flu or getting sick.
Right.
It strengthens the muscle, even though it's a hard process.
Right.
There's a book I'd recommend people read in terms of like determining your own self-will.
Osho?
Well, I should put that in the show
Freedom
notes.
to be yourself.
By the way, the show notes, we'll put in The Freedom to Be Yourself, which is a really great book. We both read that one, and I'll put all the links to everything that we talked about in the show notes. But
cool.
It would be Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand. Now, a lot of people are averse to her because she's written a book on the virtue of selfishness, and I just like to explore ideas, and a lot of people, Democrats, won't like her because she's more kind of a Republican mindset, but the whole journey of humanity, I don't even agree with her on most things.
Right.
But the whole point of our journey on this earth is to expose ourselves to ideas that allow us to grow. So it's either ideas that allow us to grow or experiences that allow us to grow. And that's kind of what Melissa was talking about. She had the C-section.
Yeah.
So she needed to go through that.
Right. So
if you're a Democrat or a socialist or anything like that, if you are into those ideas, I would recommend even more reading this book, not to change those views, but just to expose yourself to this idea. If you want to read a book, it's really one of the best written books I've ever read. And like I said, I don't even agree with her on half of everything, but you'll get a really cool story about having your own free will and self-determination. That's really powerful. That's really good.
I do have to read that. I know it's long.
Yeah, it's like 1,200 pages.
Whew.
I read it when I was traveling on my world trip, but it is a really good book. Yeah,
it's something I've been open to ever since you talked about it, because it just sounds like it just opens you and exposes you to a whole new world.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, right on.
All right, so that was fun. So go check out rawpaleo.com if you guys want to learn more about what she does.
Raw meat to Ayn Rand.
Yeah, I got to sign up for her email.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
I want to find out when her course comes out too.
Awesome.
Also, if you guys want deep information, we have actually launched our academy. So if you guys want to get into some high level information, video courses, monthly Q&A, mastermind calls, there's a community forum in there. There's a health tracker where you can track your health over time, check your progress. We're going to have different health motivators and doctors and people, but the resident expert is Dr. John Bergman. So we're releasing courses every single month that you guys can vote on. So if you want to take your health to the next level, if you're currently dealing with any kind of thing, health challenge, this is for you. If you are, wanting to live to 150 and to learn, biohacks like grounding and red light therapy or, stuff like that, this is a place for you. So nothing like this has ever been done before in the alternative natural community.
I know.
So this is really huge. So if you're listening to this, there's a sale going on. Well, actually, by the time this gets released, it won't be available anymore.
So don't tell them. They'll be sad.
Yeah, but the price will go up over time. So whatever price you sign up at will be the price that you will always pay. So it's a monthly or a lifetime sort of discount. When you sign up,
as you stay current.
As long as you stay current, yeah.
Right.
So if you cancel and then sign up again a few days later and the price goes up, you'll be paying the new price. So I just want to let everybody know that. But this is if you really want to dive deeper into becoming the fullest expression of who you're supposed to be and get motivation on lots of different levels, like every different level. This is the course for you, and this is the community for you. So that's available over at extremehealthacademy.com. So I'll put a link to that as well. If you guys want to dive deeper,
people are loving it.
And join us. Yeah, there's hundreds of people in there already.
I know.
This is awesome.
Just opened yesterday.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, this is really cool.
It's gonna be a really fun journey.
I'm excited to connect with you guys. For those of you that want to dive deeper and go further, I'm really excited to connect with you guys in there. So that's really cool.
Me as well.
Cool.
I
I
don't know the right English term.
So I got to make sure. So I'll put links to all of these show notes and everything like that in today's show notes so that you can check those out.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Thanks for visiting our store, for keeping us alive and buying some of the awesome products we have in our store. Thanks for joining us and supporting us on Patreon if you guys want to give a couple bucks a month. And thanks for buying through our Amazon link, too.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Massive.
So anytime you purchase something on Amazon, go through our link on our website, and you can everything remains the same. There's at no cost to you, nothing changes. You just go to Amazon and we'll get a little commission for that. So thank you guys for your support, for sharing our show with your friends. That means a lot to us. So we really appreciate that. It's how we stay continuing to offer all of this free content, over 560 shows so far. So
wow,
you guys are rock. You are amazing. Don't let anyone tell you different. Trust in your own intuition. And that's it, right?
Good message.
Signing off.
Sound like Oprah. Just kidding. I'll quote you on that.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Catch
That
you
was
guys
a lot of fun.
on the next show. Bye. Okay, Melissa, are you still there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much again.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was great. It was fun. And Jeremiah was quiet the whole time.
I didn't hear a peep out of that kid.
I know. That's great.
Yeah, he's just sleeping in my lap. So I was a little nervous about that.
Oh, no. We're chill like that. He's just so cute. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
What a neat thing. Well, I'll be joining your world soon.
It's awesome.
I know.
Definitely,
You guys have a
I feel
similar...
like I'm in the greatest love story possible.
Oh,
that's awesome.
well, that's a neat way to put that. I bet. I bet that there's just nothing like it.
There's just nothing like it. You know, it's just even because I feel like vows would mean so much more to me now, just how I vow to protect him and take care of him and for the rest of my life, like no questions.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't ever take that so seriously before I never really felt that with a man.
Yeah.
No, you're in. I mean, what an impactful life stage. I'm so stoked.
It's so interesting how you guys both did hair for
Yeah.
so long and are both into the health stuff now. It's interesting. Yeah.
Same age, everything.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's very cool. Thank you for sharing your morning with us.
Yeah, and you guys are in San Diego?
We are about an hour north of San Diego. We're in San Juan Capistrano in Orange County.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, because there is an Amish drop in San Diego.
Oh, there is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's my old group that I would go to in Venice, and they would drive down. They drove to Encinitas, but that's probably...
What's the name of that?
No, that's not too far.
Yeah, I'll have to email you their website.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
Are you friends with Matt Blackburn, or did I find out about you, or did I see an interview you did with Chris Wark?
It's Matt, probably Matt Blackburn.
Probably Matt. Okay, yeah. I thought, I saw something with you because I'd known about you for some time, and then I saw, because we're friends with Matt, and then I saw he did something with you, and I thought, oh wow, what a small world.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, awesome, Melissa. We'll let you get back to
your baby
and taking care of everything.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks. It was good talking to you.
Yeah.
Thanks, you too.
The pleasure was ours, and it will be probably a few weeks. We're doing less shows now, so we do one show a week. So it might be 3 or 4 weeks before we publish this, but when we do, I'll send you the link.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, keep in touch. It'd be cool to talk again one day.
Yeah, and if you're ever in this area, feel free to come on by. We have a studio here, and we can do something in studio as well.
That'd be fun.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and with your audio course, we'd love to pass that on to our listeners.
Definitely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Well, take care of yourself.
You too. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. You too.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment/cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be continued as such. Always work with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, prescription drug use, lifestyle, or exercise activities. This information is provided as is, and the reader/viewer assumes all risks from the use, non-use, or misuse of this information.